Traders, welcome back to another Relentless recap. As you're tuning in, be sure to hit that thumbs up. And if you're a new viewer, as you watch throughout the video, consider subscribing to the channel. So today we're going to talk about how one mistake can cost you a sweet day. We traded extremely well today. In fact, besides the mistake we're going to point out, there is no other area where I really thought I could have done much better, besides just, of course, over time being more comfortable with size, which is something that'll come with time, of course. Uh, this was a little brutal, man. We traded so well today, only to size up a little inappropriately and fall off track with our game plan and losing massively here on stock IBO. So, as usual, the day started off with me checking out the scans. As of right now, I'm utilizing Momo Pro and the discovery section down below. I got my watch list. I got everything I needed here to, give myself a good chance with a list of strong stocks, right? As we go up and down here, you guys will see, IBO earlier this morning was one of the ones that were leading the way. Now it fell down a little on the list as we had other stocks popped up. But 141 million shares of volume, 5 million shares available for the public to trade. Big gap from yesterday. Everything that we look for, we had on this stock. And to start the day, I ended up going up, I believe, 1,500, 1,300, something like that on this one. I'm going to honestly, what I'm going to do in this recap, I'm going to pull through some of the archive just because I want to get a little bit more of a clear memory of what happened. So I had some good positions, nice trading so far here, IBO. And then this drop actually was pretty interesting, right? Look at this, right? This thing pushed up all the way to 425. Nice move from the lows of the VWAP. And when it came back down, man, I was gearing up to potentially go long a little lower. And good thing I didn't try to buy early or anything like that, because this was brutal. I mean, just absolute. Let's look at that drop right there, man. Just tough, tough, tough drop. Anybody, if you're watching at the balance of 4, or you're watching at 95 bounce and you're taking it a little early right here, 99. I mean, just this. I mean, just brutal. And even if you're reacting pretty quickly to jump in, there was a spread there. It wasn't just a perfect tight spread, I don't believe. So, man, oh, maybe there was, but you'd have had to react it at the speed of light. Actually, it didn't even drop yet. Hold up. I thought I saw 3 by 3. Here we go. It's coming. 25 by 41. And even here, if you're buying right here on the bids, let's say you're hitting the bids right here. This is insane because the halt down is right there. So this is a tough trade to take. You can even hear me on the audio saying, what? I'll mute that. That was funny. Yeah, so I mean, this was a brutal drop. I did try to bounce here, and I had size 2 for it. I'm going to go long right here. This is a great trade I attempted here, man, but I didn't hold it long enough. I kind of panicked out of it. I got fill 37, which is a pair fill. There's 49. Could I have sold this immediately for 10 cents? Yes, but I was looking for 55, 60. And right here, when it came back down to my break even, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I think I'm going to cut it right here. So I got to 34, and I'm like, I just, the way how it pulled back, maybe a little bit of fear, and I just cut it for like a 2-cent loss, which is a little disappointing because if we skip ahead, in fact, well, we don't have to skip ahead. Almost immediately, it's back at 50, and then I think we get 55, 60, which is my target here in a sec. There's right here. There it is. These types of trades are tough for me because the intention, the trade idea is there, and it's like, oh, I kind of barely missed it. So in terms of P&L, right? I would have been in at 37. I would have been selling at 57. That one trade would have been $1,000. There's a lot of people watching on right now that says, "Oh, RT, like, you get up to $1,000, you go back to flat." Like, guys, with this, with this type of size, like $1,000 is one trade really and truly. And I had like 8 trades today. That's a plus or minus over plus 1,000 or below $1,000, right? So when size is involved, things get a little different, right? A little bit more grand. So do keep that in mind for somebody who's maybe using smaller size. Um, Arnaz, again, this particular stock, we couldn't really build a position. We couldn't really build a position here because we didn't really have extended pullbacks or anything like that. But we did a pretty fair job getting ourselves to green. I think we ended about 1,300 here. We did have some small losses towards the top. So we're up 1,700 at one point. And I believe this 5-minute pullback. So again, I had orders out to add. It didn't quite go according to plan. And I believe we might have had a small loss towards the end. So we're gonna come forward. Or did I retain all those gains? I can't remember. Arnaz. Okay, looks like we did. Okay, yeah, we had a loss here at the very end. We noticed, hey, this thing just looked a little too weak, and we ended up stopping out right there. So we gave back about 300 off the top. I think this trade could have been avoided, but it was a tough call as to if we were officially backside or not. So if we come early, we took a loss in ALUR. A lot of good things here. I think I did a really good job managing risk. I went up to some fair size. I think I had more size. Yeah, I had fair size in this trade. I was pretty comfortable with this position. Again, guys, on this type of position, 8 cents, 9 cents is $1,000. So in terms of how well I managed the risk right here, the moment this thing starts to break down, I'm going to look to cut the trade. And that's exactly what I needed to do here. And that's it, right? Just like that, $700. Maybe I could have tried to hit the bid on the entire thing right away. But, I mean, it's still a pretty quick cut. $87. I guess maybe we could have been out a little, like a cent or two faster. But, we're not going to complain about a cent or two. If we look back at this stock, if I was to bag hold this and like really didn't cut this trade, just look at what would have happened, right? So I sold like right here. This thing went all the way down here to 326. Let's give the 5-minute chart some love. And then I'd have been bag holding all the way down to 312 with an entry of 490, hoping it would curl up. And maybe I would have gotten lucky right here for a little bit to get out flat, but how often do we really curl up like this? Not that often, right? So, it was a little frustrating because, again, right before disaster is going to strike, despite that $600 loss right there, right before IBO again, we're already up nicely, 2.1 on the day. And here's where things got a little carried away, right? IBO, IBO, man. Here's where things got a little carried away. So the stock right here is extended. Let's bring out the drawing tools. The stock right here. This is our if I was going to be buying this thing, I would have loved to be in somewhere here for the breakout high of day. For like a ideal situation is that I'm in right here for the breakout, right? Because typically I'm not watching a stock like this in all of this consolidation. Like, I mean, maybe if you're watching it all the way down here, maybe you could have been in here or something. But ideally, I'm buying somewhere in this zone here, right? And I'm not looking at the stock at this time. And our ultimate true range is this entire move here. So it's breaking out of the channel, which is great. A bit of a wedge breakout, nice. So I want the quick dip and rip, and then I want to wait to see how it pulls back. And that's exactly what I'm going to attempt to do, other than I got a little too carried away and got a little too aggressive. My eyes started lighting up. this opportunity was very reminiscent. It reminded me of hotter stocks like from 2 months ago, back in November, December. But again, we're not in that type of market. We're chasing to this level can work, because ultimately this trade is still chase because the stock has already moved up, right? And I think that's what I really lost sight of. Like I got a little too tunnel vision, thinking we would get a little more continuation before the pullback. And so let's just fast forward here. I'll actually show you guys this one. The risk is high because there's a lot of spreads as well involved. So stock resumes. I'm gonna buy in the spreads here around 90, right? So I'm in at 90, nice. And here we go. Looking for the move over the highs. There's 40 on the ask. 44 on the ask. And I'm selling into the highs. There's a bid at 20 for 23,000 shares. I'm thinking short sellers may be getting squeezed to even another level. And this is where my eyes light up. This is the mistake I made right here. I'm gonna take massive size on this small drop here. Boom. There's the first entry. And then I'm gonna add at 25, 30. And in theory, I'm gonna try to basically take two positions right here, but I'm a little slow to add. And here's the add at 30. And in the next 3 seconds, the stock is gonna be at 480. Back in Guyana, there was something called a death announcement. Whenever someone in the local community would die, they'd come on the 6 o'clock news, a death announcement. That's what this is here. Again, flawless trading, basically flawless trading to this point in the day. And then we get a little overzealous. Has this happened to me in the past? Of course. But we've done the right things, have the proper restraint. And then today, again, a little too much excitement. Got a little too ahead of myself. And went crazy. 10,000 size. 10,000 size. 26 average. And so, if I was to take one position here, I probably would have lost like 1K, because my first sell comes around 502. Well, maybe not even 502, but I mean this is just brutal here. The stock is at 480, and I think this is fine. This is fair because, again, our analysis before we started looking at it, ideally I would have been buying down here for the breakout, and then selling, right? And the dip and rip is the ultimate chase entry because it allows for a quick pullback and a rip, which is exactly what we ended up getting. And I mean, even that trade was probably not worth taking because, one, there was a massive spread. There's a massive spread. I got filled in the high side, right? If I'm in here, let's put it like a circle. If I'm in here and the dip and rip failed, then I'm selling all the way somewhere here. And it's like a terrible loss. So is the dip and rip worth it all the times? Probably not. In this situation, honestly, like looking back at this trade, it probably is not even worth it. In this particular context, to where the spreads is a little wider, I'm in a little higher in the spreads, and the stock could still fail and start pulling back, and when I say fail, I mean the breakout giving a bit of a relief, right? Not us going like this, but hey, nothing goes up all. I mean, rare in hotter markets, but more than likely we get the move up, it comes down, then it does whatever, tries again, something like that. But never do we just boom all the way up to 7, 8, 9. It's rare that happens. So I'm a little disappointed that I got this aggressive. I mean, you guys can see that I'm not a stranger to being aggressive, whether it's today, in prior months. This, we can also talk about the potential of what could have happened if it kept going. But I still think, nevertheless, we needed to be a little bit more careful here. But I do like the idea. I'm not afraid to hit the buy button when I need to. but we just need to be a little bit more careful in a situation like this, especially when we've already built up. If you look down here, we've already built a nice day. We don't need to be taking, and I hate this type of topic only because it's something that I already spoke about in many recaps before, which is we don't really want to be in the position where after a longer day, one trade could potentially wipe us out, because the temperature of the market at this point has told us, hey, it's like a slower, grindier day. There are days where we can start the day up 10 grand in the first 3 minutes. It's not that kind of day to where the range of the stock will be so great that even something like this can mean nothing and you then bounce back right away. Hey, today's been a more chilled out day. Take it slow. Really be patient for the key opportunities, and when they come, take them and do well. So we built our cushion, but we still needed to protect our cushion and not be too aggressive. So even just 5K in the first fill, if I had just 5K in the first fill, I would have been, let's see, so we had this winning trade here, 5K in the first fill. So I should be getting filled between 13 and 16 in the spread. And you can see even here I'm getting cooked. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. I'm getting cooked in the spreads here. 21. If this goes down to every 10 cents, it's going to be 500. So at 11, it would be -5. At 01, it'll be -1K. At 91, it'll be -1500. So I probably would have lost like 1500 and at least still, been up something. Still been up, a good 1,000 or so. But because I then tried to add, and the ad was pretty poor because it was slow. If this was to be a hot market where everything is going up to $6 and halt up, the ad was kind of slow. So a little tough there. And in this, I don't love this trade. I don't think it's an A quality trade in terms of this entry here. The first dip and rip A quality, this not A quality, but in a hot market it could be A quality if this is the trend, which again is what somewhat inclined me to like again that reminisce, that spark, that familiarity. In a hot market, this does, believe it or not, go up to this halt level sometimes, or maybe not the halt level all the time, but then 55, 68, 75, whatever. If it did go all the way up there, then we would have had 10,000 shares at 25. Every 10 cents is $1,000. Every penny is $100. And if it goes all the way to 80, you do the math. 80 minus 25, which is about 55. Is that right? Or 50? Something like that. Yeah, let's just say 50. 50, 50 cents, 0.50 times 10,000 is, of course, 5,000, right? So this is where we could have been able to make 5K in this particular trade. But again, I think this only is A quality in the context of a really hot market. Then this would have been A plus, where stocks just keep going. And when we get back into those markets, we'll know, because we'll see this happen one day, and then the second day, third day, then 2, 3, 4 weeks straight before it cools off again. And then we're in a market like this where after the first halt, you got to be careful for that bigger range consolidation and move up. And because I took this loss, I don't think I was at my best self afterwards, because I think in this area I could have done better. We've made money, but then we lost money, and it wasn't like the cleanest. It wasn't the cleanest at all here. So after that, we were down 600, and we took a high dip, which kind of cost us. On the pullback, we weren't able to accumulate properly, and we kind of fumbled this area. I think without the loss, we're in such a good zone that more than likely we would have like added pretty well. So yeah, that ended up happening. If we skip through some more, you guys will see. I mean, even here we also had some good opportunities too, which I basically had smaller size. Right here in at 30, I believe this was the ad. So I had 3 limit orders out initially, and let's see, was it the first go around? Yeah, right here. Had some good limit orders out, but it didn't go according to plan in terms of like me keeping the discipline. So there were some complications along the way. And so at the end of the live stream, I ended at 600. But I did see the stock moving earlier, or later rather, and I came back IBO. I came back like over here and tried it, but it didn't feel like it was moving the same. So I was like, you know what, let's just leave it alone. And so we ended at 740 in the red after a solid day of trading, but making that one mistake. So honestly, if we didn't make that mistake, I think it would have been an A+ day, day 6 on the road to being a 5-figure a day trader. Without that one mistake, I would say A+. Because we made the mistake, it cannot be an A+ day, of course. But I still think there's a lot of great things about the day. And so I still give myself a decent B, maybe B-. But we have to make sure in those situations that we don't get overzealous, overexcited, and then make a silly mistake like that, being that aggressive, that high up, right? Because again, before the resumption, we already mentioned, hey, dip and rip, then wait, let's see how this thing does, and then go from there again. Like let's recycle, right? So a little tough to get caught in that area. And by the way, I lost 3,500 on that trade, so that wasn't great. But yeah, I think that'll do it. I think Monday again. I like the trajectory that we're on. I think we're really doing a good job of understanding the levels and having a good balance between bigger picture and just scalping in the key areas. The hyper scalping is undefeated, man. That's all I think I can say here. Like despite like losing money like that at the highs, I can out of my archives, I can show you guys the library of archive here. I can show you guys I hope I just put that back on, because if not, we're watch this recap. I can show you guys a bunch of archives where this type of trade worked out, but yeah, it's all good. Tomorrow again, or Monday again. So stay safe, stay green, hit the thumbs up, check out those links down below if you're interested in learning how to trade. If you're interested in this chat room, be be sure to check it out. You got Merciless Markets, which is the best program in the world right now, teaching traders like you how to trade. All these guys right here learned a thing or two from us, the entire team, right? So be sure to check it out. Check out all the perks. You have the A to Z course itself down below. There's a ton of stuff to learn. I mean, it's quite long, right? So we kind of have to go fast. It's very detailed, and it needs to be that way because it's everything, right? Everything that we know from zero to advanced. But yeah, stay safe, stay green. Hit that thumbs up. Check out the chat room as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay green.